And we are just about going live. And there we are. We are live. It is Tuesday, May 28th, the day after Memorial Day. And it's now time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. And we're here.
We are here. We survived the holiday weekend, Karen. What a day. I hope everybody had a great holiday. Beautiful weather here in Cleveland, Ohio, where we're broadcasting from. And by we, I mean the crew of What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news podcast. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. So welcome all of you. A day after the holiday, I'm assuming a lot of people are still off today, maybe on vacation, maybe taking an extra day. So glad you're joining us either on Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time or sometime in the future. Hopefully, we're still around by the time you're listening to us. But anyway,
that's scary.
All right. Let's see. So that one voice in your ear is none other than Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, which is our platform. Great place to come for podcasts. Find out how to download us. Just look for my name somewhere and click on that. You get all the information. Also, how to get over to our link to YouTube. We always recommend that because we have some photos that go along with many of our stories. So it's always fun to take a look at what the photos that we'll be describing actually do look like. The other voice in your ear is John DiNallo, our other co-host, sports guy, host of What in the World of Sports. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm well, Paul and Karen. And as you said, got through the holiday yesterday and looking forward to a great show today.
That's right. John has his Cleveland Guardians shirt on.
Yes, I do.
What did you say, John? They've won 9 out of 10. They're the
9 out of
hottest
10.
team.
They're the hottest team in baseball. So
Yeah.
hats off to them.
So we just jinxed them.
Oh, no.
I hope not.
No, we don't have that kind of power, I hope. All right, well, you didn't tune into What in the World to hear us talk about the Guardians. You tuned in to hear more about the weird news that's going on in the world. And by weird news, I don't mean the political news, the business news, the religious news, the fighting and troubles all over the place. No. We don't talk about that. We dig for the weirdest, the strangest, the most unusual, and hopefully the funniest news around, not just around our neighborhood, but around the world. We even go into outer space sometimes. We travel the universe searching for the strangest news we can possibly find, and then going out of our way to make fun of it.
And that is very true.
Yeah, there you go, John. That's exactly what. Boy, do we have a show for you today. Let's see. What did we want to say? If you want more information, I said go to newclevelandradio.net. If you want to send us any information, send it to Karen there. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. Just Google my name. I'm always open to suggestion, submissions as well. Well, last week we had a number of photos submitted by our loyal and faithful listeners. None of that this week, but that's okay because we have plenty of good stories. Such as, get ready for this, the worst news for a competitive hot dog eater. John, this is for you. Bad news. The best tattoo for setting world records. Where do you hear this one? Latest new fad around the world, also in Cleveland, naked gardening. I've got all the information you need on this new fad, so get ready. But no naked photos, just they will be discreetly covered. So don't worry, Karen. Don't get that censor button ready on.
Thank you.
Okay, your grandma's favorite candy makes a return in a weird new way. So we'll find out about that. Why yoga needs pigs more than downward dogs. Pigs apparently are the new thing in yoga. We'll find out about that. The beginning of the end of speeding in California, and maybe across the country. Interesting way they're doing that in California. And a lady who got wigged out in Nigeria. Boy, this is a wig that you'll wanna hear about and you'll want to see on YouTube. Plus, we got more odd news. We've got world records. Oh, I got a bunch of world records. Trivia, as always. Listen for that trivia horn. You know that we just did some trivia. John's got a great strange sport for us, and then we play everybody's favorite weird news game. Bluff, the co-host. On that note, let's get right to it. I mentioned John we have talked about sports on the show both during your segment and outside of it. And one of the sports that is a big one in the summertime is competitive eating. And we always talk about the Nathan's hot dog contest in New York at Coney Island.
Coney
And
Island.
who's the big name in hot dog eating, John?
Joey Chestnut.
Joey, that's right. Joey he's been the big name. Now, he took the place of a guy by the name of Takeru Kobayashi, who was the former when it first started getting a lot of popularity. Kobayashi, because of the melodic name that he had and his ability to put down 60 hot dogs. He was the guy in competitive hot dog eating. Guess what? He had to retire. He had to retire after winning 6 consecutive Nathan's hot dog competitive eating contests. He's retiring because, get ready, he says he doesn't feel hungry anymore. And even worse, he wants to try nutritious food.
Makes sense.
Guess what? As soon as that hit, Nathan's stock crashed, absolutely crashed. So they immediately announced that they would be testing a vegan all beet hot dog for the people who are so depressed that they too are switching, like Kobayashi, to something more healthy. Here's what he said. This is really scary news. He says his brain has become repelled by highly processed food. It's actually, he went to the doctor and that's what the doctor told him. I'm thinking if that happened to him, we're all not far off because we all eat highly processed food. Maybe not 50 hot or 60 hot dogs at a time, but we eat it,
That's absolutely true. Absolutely.
Yeah. It even if we just had the kickoff holiday of the summer. There was very little natural food on those barbecues. It was all hot dogs and burgers. Maybe some people put a green pepper and an onion on a skewer in between huge chunks of beef. We ate processed food. That's what we do. So Kobayashi has spent more than 2 decades downing hot dogs, shrimp, meatloaf, anything that you can possibly eat and measure. He has done it. He's gotten worldwide fame, but get a load of this. I didn't realize how much money was involved. He makes upwards of $650,000 a year eating hot dogs against other people. $650,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. When his wife saw that, she said, maybe there's some vegan contests you can get into because she don't want to lose that $650,000 a year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're interested, and if you're wondering if you might have a similar condition to what Kobayashi had, I wrote it down here. It's a psychological disorder, and it's called EBTS. EBTS. That stands for eyes bigger than stomach. So if you have that and you like highly processed food, boy, get ready because you just might be in for some problems. Okay. All right, let's move to something more positive here. Tattoos. We all have tattoos, right? All our listeners do. No. I think we've discussed this before. I don't think there's a tattoo among the 3 of us, nor among our spouses, nor among our immediate family and friends. We're not of that age group. But anyways, Tara Berry. Oh, you know what? What did I I forgot that we have photos here. I'm talking about photos and I didn't even bring them up here. There we go.
Whoa.
Oh, so we have here a picture of Kobayashi, but we could have been talking about him downing.
Yeah.
Looks like he's eating wings over there. Very messy, uh,
Yeah.
competitive eater. Although I look like that sometimes too. So uh, you got grease all over, just sauce all over your face. I know John and I are both of the group that never wears white shirts anymore when we go out to eat. It's just
Yeah.
Well,
not worth it.
that's a wise move, Paul, for us. That is a wise move. No question about that.
Okay, so Tara Berry of Topeka, Kansas, set a Guinness World Record this week for the most tattoos of the same musician on the body, female category, when she added her 18th tattoo of none other than Madonna. So here she is. There's a picture of Tara, and there's two of her Madonna pictures. One of Madonna playing a guitar, another one of Madonna licking a sucker. I'm not sure what song that's associated with. Madonna fans, I'm sure, could tell us what that is. And in the middle is Tara, and you can we can see photos of her tattoos up and down her arm. I'm assuming they're up and down her legs and all the other body parts that people like to get tattooed. Um, so, I was thinking about this. A lot of people like to do rock stars on their bodies, tattoos. I saw a guy walking down the street the other day who was he looked like he was covered with Mick Jagger tattoos. And then I got closer to him and I realized that he had just lost a lot of weight and he was covered in wrinkles.
Oh.
Oh, get the
Oh.
horn out. Okay.
Sorry, if you're listening out there, yeah, like he is. Go back to sleep, Mick. It's not time to get up for the concert yet. So she's got tattoos of Madonna going all the way back to when Madonna first started singing up until Madonna's today, 60-year-old Madonna, 61, whatever she is. So I was thinking Madonna ought to hire this girl, tell her to take off all of her clothes and run in front of Madonna. And that way Madonna can watch her life pass before her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Never
idea,
thought of
yeah.
that. Never thought of that, Paul.
No, John, I'm the one who has the curse of thinking of those things.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I understand.
So she took the record from a person who has 15 tattoos of Eminem. Eminem. All I can think of is going to get a tattoo of Eminem and walking out with a picture of this rapper and looking down and thinking, I meant the green one with the go-go boots, not this guy.
Oh.
And why would you get tattooed with an image of someone who is also covered in tattoos? Think about that. So you've got a tattoo of a person who has a tattoo on their arm. It's like looking in a funhouse mirror. You keep looking and there's a mirror, another mirror, and another mirror. Or when you go to the barber or to the salon and there's mirrors on both sides and they go off into infinity. To me, that's what that tattoo must look like, which would drive the tattoo artist crazy, I'm sure. Anyway, maybe it's just me who thinks about that. I'm sure there's somebody out there, one of our listeners thinks the same way I do. So we'll stick with that. Now, for people, for boomers in our age group, what would your parents say if you said you wanted a tattoo of a famous singer back in our day when you were growing up? John, what do you think your parents would say?
Well, I tell my folks would not be very, very happy about that. I can tell you that for certain.
I'm sure they wouldn't give you any money for it. That's for sure.
Oh no, they would not do that. They would highly discourage that. So
that's right. You have to pay for that out of your own allowance.
That's right.
I know what my dad would say. My dad would have said, "Hey, I got a better idea. How about if you get a tattoo of a famous movie character? I got one for you, the Invisible Man."
Good
That's a
one.
good one, Paul. Good one.
I don't know when my dad got an Italian accent, but that's what. Hey, you. Or better yet, get that Keith Richards guy. Get his head tattooed on your behind, so you can always remember what you are—a butt head.
Oh,
Oh,
I was thinking if I had to get one, I'd get a tattoo of Stevie Wonder because no matter how bad it was, he wouldn't know. So
oh,
you know, poor Stevie. I know if Stevie, if you're listening, it's time for you to go to bed too. It's not, you know, concert's not till tonight. All right, this is my favorite story of the week. Gardening season is here. In fact, it's already been here for a while, but I didn't know this. Naked gardening is a big thing. It's a fad across the country. So this company just did a study of naked gardening. So what do you think is the number one city in the United States for naked gardening? Everybody out there, get your choice in mind. I'm going to ask Karen, what city do you think is number one for naked gardening?
New York City.
New York City. Good guess. John, how about you?
oh, I'm going to say Miami, Florida.
Even better. Wow, I am impressed with both of you. The number one city is Miami, Florida. The number three city is New York. Um, it's not Cleveland. I'll say that. It's not Cleveland. I looked. Um, Cleveland is number 214. If you're in the garden naked in Cleveland, what that means is that your shower's broken and you're running through the sprinkler while you wait for the plumber to show up. That's what,
Could be. Yep.
yeah. Miami, number one in nude gardening. Um, the alligators in Miami love this because they find somebody in the garden. They don't have to take the wrapper off. They can just eat them.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Number two, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is one I never would have guessed. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which means that the Liberty Bell is not the only thing in Philadelphia that's proud of its craft.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Number three, Karen's choice, New York City. If you're in the garden naked in New York City, what that means is that your girlfriend's husband came home before you were expecting him to come home and you had to jump out the window. That's what
probably. Yep.
a lot of people in New York, I found out, go naked to avoid being pickpocketed. That's another reason for it. Number four, nobody guessed this one, but I bet you some of our friends down in Texas did. Austin, Texas. There's a famous lake, I think it's Lake Austin, which has a place called Hippie Hollow, and that was a place where all the UT students used to go to skinny dip, and still do. But in Austin is also very the liberal heart of conservative Texas. So it makes sense for them to garden naked because they're not worried about concealed carry. Well, only our Texas friends get that one. But also in Austin, Willie Nelson grows pot naked. He just doesn't realize that he's naked while he's doing it.
Oh,
Anyway, so there's a photo for those of you. If you need some incentive to take a look on YouTube, I actually have a post, a photo of a person gardening naked. I'm not. That's all I'm going to say. So you have to look it up yourself. All right. Everybody loves pizza. Karen loves pizza. John loves pizza. I love pizza. Everybody listening loves pizza. Everybody also has to use the bathroom. I'm not going to list everybody again, but those are two things that everybody loves pizza. Everybody has to use the bathroom. An artist by the name of Bailey Haikawa has combined those two interests into one thing. She created a toilet seat with pizza in it.
oh, yuck.
Photo of it. There's pizza in the lid. There's a slice of pizza in the lid. There's a slice of pizza in the base, along with some other things that I'll describe for you in clear plastic, whatever that stuff is called. It features a slice of pizza, pretzels, gummy bears, animal crackers, Cheerios, a chicken wing, Cheetos, a Diet Coke can is in there somewhere, and bacon. Throw in some chili and it's a Super Bowl party in a toilet seat. You know, it's unbelievable. She even has, it's like sitting on a food pyramid after eating everything on the food pyramid. So, you know, you're kind of thinking about in the appropriate place what you just ate. She even threw in a fork and a spoon. There's a fork and a spoon in there somewhere. A diamond ring and a pearl necklace if you're into more formal bathroom use. So I mentioned that she's an artist. Is this art? John, do you think this is art worthy?
No, I don't think so. In fact, it's hard for me to describe what it is. I mean, it's a phenomenon, obviously. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this, but I think I've seen enough, quite frankly.
Good one.
Well, here's what she said. She said this is a statement on homemaking and the fact that it's women who usually end up cleaning the toilet. So she wanted to make it more pleasant for them. Now, if you put it that way, I think that maybe it is art. Karen, I bet you
No,
got something to relate to.
It's disgusting. Truthfully,
Artist,
I don't want to clean. No.
Okay. Well, a better idea maybe would be a toilet seat with a TV built into it. So guys would come in and clean the toilet. I don't know. Maybe we should work on that. That's one of our ideas.
Let me ask you a question. So,
Are we? Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead, John.
here's my question. So she has this food inside of this toilet seat. Does she eat the food?
Well, no, John. It's in plastic. I suppose she could break it open. Oh, you mean does she eat it before? Or
No, or I mean, what is the purpose of it being in the toilet seat to begin with? I mean,
it's art, John. It's
oh,
art.
as I said earlier, folks, I just don't see it.
I can't explain art. I don't know who can. I suppose somebody, one of those teachers that we had in college can explain it, but not me. Okay. Before John asked me any more hard questions, moving on to dogs. The lovely Donna passed this story on to me. An airline called Bark Air has introduced round trip service from New York to Los Angeles or to London that caters specifically to dogs and their owners. Here's a photo of the plane. It's a small private plane, not a big 747. It's called Bark Air. It says Bark Air on the side. Dogs fly first is their motto. And here's a lady, and the dog is even getting on the plane first. So it says there's a little sign on the steps. It says watch your paws. So obviously they're catering to dogs. The in-flight meal is anything that falls on the floor. So perfect for dogs. Each flight can take up to 10 passengers with their dogs, and you can have more than one dog on there. So this thing is full of dogs. Here's a photo of the dog. Now look at how nicely they're treating them. The dogs, they get their treats on a silver platter with a silver cover over it. They're lounging. They can take up 2 or more seats. The counter is covered with all kinds of doggy snacks. So it looks like they're having fun. So in the air, according to the ad, each dog gets lots of belly rubs, a warm facial towel, a grooming, a waterless shampoo, and a body cleanse, followed by some nose and paw butter. And then an in-flight concierge supplies cushions with pheromones to ease canine anxiety. How about that?
And they said it couldn't be done.
I know. Who said that? For that kind of treatment, I'd get down on all fours and pee on a tree just to get on.
Good one, Paul. Good one.
$6,000 is the cost from New York to LA. $8,000 from New York to London. Now that's for the dog and the owner. They said the dog owners want their dogs to be treated like family members, and regular airlines weren't doing it. I'll tell you, the only time that human flyers get a belly rub on a regular airline flight is when they're trying to get into the Mile High Club, or maybe during they're trying to get into the Mile High Club. Now, just to show how much they cater to dogs, for another $1,000, they will hire a second plane to fly alongside of it with a bunch of squirrels in it. so the dogs can get all excited and they can pretend they're chasing the other plane.
Okay.
Can you believe, people have too much money. I know, I've had dogs. I love dogs. I've taken dogs not in the cabin, but I've had them, I've shipped them around the country. I can't imagine spending that kind of money to have your dog with you in the cabin.
No.
And next thing you know, all the people with their service animals, they're going to want their own planes, the service turkeys and the snakes and the cows and pigs. We're going to be talking about pigs later. Okay. We love local stories. So this next story comes from Sandusky, Ohio, right just west of us. Police in Sandusky County, Ohio, pulled over a U.S. Postal Service van after it was clocked doing, get ready for this, 105 miles an hour. One of those little square postal trucks doing 105 miles an hour while racing, not just driving 105 miles an hour, racing a Ford Mustang. The driver, that was after she was arrested, she'll be fined, but hundreds of residents have already requested her on their route. She's done in 15 minutes. 105 miles an hour in a mail truck. We used to call that air mail. Remember when we called it air mail?
Yes.
I don't think there's such a thing anymore. The truck was not modified, which is hard to believe because those trucks have the aerodynamics of a boulder. They're like a box, the air just pushes right up against them. How she got it to 105 miles an hour, I will never know. But here's another local connection with mail trucks. And I make a note, John and I and our lovely wife went to the Crawford Auto Museum over our holiday weekend, and looked at a bunch of old cars. Well, get a load of this. The very first mail car was made in Cleveland, Ohio. They didn't say this at Crawford, but I found this online. It was in December 1899. The automobile mail wagon was tested for the first time, manufactured by the Winton Company of Cleveland, Ohio. And you can tell this was taken in Cleveland because it's driving through snow. So I doubt that this thing went 105 miles an hour. In August of 1953, the first postal Jeeps, the normal ones that we think of, were made by the Willys Motor Assembly Line. The model was the first U.S. car in 3 decades to have right-hand drive. And the drivers obviously loved that for 2 reasons. One is that's the side, they didn't have to pull over to put the mail in the mailbox. And also it confused the heck out of the dogs that chased after mail carriers because they weren't sure what side the postman was on. Yeah. Okay. In honor of Saint Honore, Honore, Saint Honore, the patron saint of bakers and pastry chefs, the French Postal Service, speaking of postal services, unveiled, get ready for this, a scratch and sniff postage stamp that smells like freshly baked baguettes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Here's a picture of them. There's a freshly baked baguette on each one. A picture of looks like the saint somewhere on there. Postal carriers are also praying to Saint Honore to protect them from the hungry dogs that'll be chasing after them when they smell the baguettes in their leather bag. Now, these are not the kind of stamps that you lick. You scratch and sniff. You don't lick them, which was too confusing for French, but the licking would be confusing. You can just imagine a French guy going into the post office. Sacre bleu. It smells like a baguette, but it tastes like English food. Impression there of a French guy licking the back of a stamp. So the Postal Service, now you would hope or think that maybe the United States Postal Service would do something like this. And as a matter of fact, they did. I don't know if you remember this, but in 2018, the U.S. Postal Service came out with their own scratch and sniff stamps with frozen treats on them. And by frozen treats, I mean popsicles and fudgesicles and all those cool things that come on a wooden stick and are covered with more sweet stuff. Nobody licked them though, either the front or the back. They just scratched it. They were afraid to lick it because their tongue might stick to the frozen treat, especially in Cleveland. I had to put up a picture of, you remember from the famous movie A Christmas Story, when Ralphie's friend, they dared him, they double dog dared him to lick a flagpole, and his frozen flagpole, and his tongue got stuck to it. Famous scene. John, did anybody ever convince you to do that?
No, they've tried, but no, I never had an interest in doing that. I didn't think it'd be a good idea.
The funniest thing, long before this movie was made, my mom used to talk about a kid that they convinced to do this when she was in school. Now, she never said that it was her. I don't think it was, but she said there was some kid that licked the flagpole, and that's what happened to him.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. That explains a lot. If my mother was involved with something like that, it explains a lot. Okay. All right, Mom. Sorry about that. She won't be sponsoring the show either. McDonald's. Speaking of freezing, McDonald's unveiled the new Grandma's McFlurry. There's a photo of it. Grandma's McFlurry that McDonald's claims was inspired by the butterscotch candy that all of our grandmas used to have in their purse. And when they come to visit her, we'd go to visit grandma. She'd go digging in that purse and she'd pull one of those candies out. Here's a photo of what they look like here.
Oh, yep.
Sure. If this Grandma's McFlurry is successful, McDonald's says they're going to do a Grandpa's one. It'll be the Grandpa's pull my finger chicken fingers.
Oh, there we are. There we are.
Now I'm thinking, if this actually tastes like my grandma's butterscotch candies, shouldn't the McFlurry be covered with lint? Because she'd always had it seemed like they'd always get unwrapped while they were in the purse.
Yep.
And then, she'd hand one to you, and you can't say no to grandma. You were hoping for one that was wrapped. So you popped it in your mouth and licked it as hard as you could to get all that lint off and spit that out, and then finish the rest of the butterscotch.
Oh boy.
Did you know that butterscotch originated in Scotland? I'll explain that in a second. It originated in Scotland, in Yorkshire. It was named for the day that a cow fell into the vat of scotch. That's what it was named for. No, I'm just kidding. They became famous in 1851. That's how long ago it's been made. After Queen Victoria went to visit Yorkshire, and she was presented with a tin of butterscotch candies. Now, rumor has it that the inventor almost lost his head because of this, because she thought he was hinting that she looked like someone's grandma. If you've ever seen the pictures of Queen Victoria, here's a picture of her here. Believe it or not, she's 18 years old in this photo. She looks like she's in her 80s already.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I know she always looked really old. So anyways, so that's a little bit of information, a little trivia on butterscotch.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. Yeah. You like butterscotch, John? You like those butterscotch candies?
I do. Yes. It's a very good flavor, I think.
Yeah. I like butterscotch brownies myself. Everybody loves the chocolate brownies. I always also like the butterscotch brownies. Although when my grandmother made them, I always asked her how come they didn't taste like lint. But call back there. Okay, this is a great animal story. This story was on. I had this one on Facebook this week at the Shendiao Mountain Wildlife Park in China. By the name of Dong Dong. A visitor accidentally dropped their sandal into his enclosure. So he did the most human thing that a chimpanzee could possibly do. He picked up the sandal and threw it back to the owner.
Oh.
They caught the whole thing on video. A bunch of people saw it. They probably applauded. So Dong Dong was hoping that they'd set him free as a result of it. But of course, they wouldn't set him free. But they did give him a nicer enclosure and a good paying job in the lost and found office. So
Okay.
yeah, he made out all right there.
Yeah.
So now they admitted that he tried to chew on the sandal for a second, and then of course he threw it back because because of the taste. Which he went back to the enclosure to his buddies, and they all wanted to know how the sandal tasted, and of course he said it tasted like chicken.
Oh, very good, Paul. Very good.
Chimpanzee language, yeah, chimpanzee language. So I think, speaking of the Cleveland Guardians, the Guardians ought to try this guy. They're looking for starting pitchers or a short reliever, or as an outfielder. Think about it. He's nobody beats a chimp for climbing up the fence and pulling down fly balls.
Oh, really? Yeah, good point.
They talked to me about it. I'm his agent. Don's agent.
I'll call the Guardians for you today.
Coach, yeah, coach, vote, yeah. I got a guy for you. I got a guy in China. How would he look in a hat, John? Did you think he'd look good in a baseball cap? I don't know.
I don't know. You have to test his arm strength, I think, Paul. That's really the key. Yeah.
All right. So the hot new fad. We talked about one hot new fad, Naked Guardian. Here's the hot new fad in Massachusetts: Piglet yoga. Piglet yoga. There's a photo of a bunch of people sitting outside in their yoga poses with little baby pigs running all around them. They're 3 trained little piggies. They run around the class. They put their little noses while the participants are doing their poses. I don't know. I think somewhere in India, there's a group of yogis who are meditating on the idea that they're going to turn into roast little piggies. This is sacrilegious to the yoga practitioners in the people that invented it, the Indians. So I don't get it. I really don't get why you want to have animals around when you're doing yoga. Do you want to be face down with your butt up in the air with and you hear behind you some snorting and grunting and oinking? I don't think that doesn't seem to be too conducive to yoga. Now, I would ask John if that ever happened to him doing yoga, but I know John has never tried yoga. Have you?
No, I have not. Truth, I have not, Paul.
Pig or no pig, John's not doing yoga.
Either way, right? Exactly.
Sticking it up in the air. Or dogs. A lot of them have dogs. They bring dogs, goats. They bring goats, but dogs. I'm thinking dogs. You're doing the downward dog. I don't want to hear a dog barking. But if it's me, if my dog was there, he'd be farting. I don't want to be in the downward dog and smell farts. I don't want that either. Next thing you know, they're going to bring in a hyena. Hyena's laughing at you. Oh, it's such a nice hyena. No, he's not. He's laughing at me. So this was from another class. These people are in the downward dog, and they have goats on their backs.
Oh my gosh! Paul, where is this at? Paul, where is this taken? This photo.
What is it? What?
Where is this photo taken? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. Cleveland.
No, there are places in Cleveland that do goat yoga.
They do, really.
Yeah.
Goat yoga in Cleveland. Wow. Yeah. I know I don't even know where to begin with this one. Goat yoga. Now I know that we have all kinds of listeners, and I just got a message here that one of our listeners already was inspired to try all this animal yoga. And here's a photo of him right here. So there's there's a dog doing a downward dog. How about that?
Love it. Yep.
A dog, little chihuahua or some kind of pug, I think is what that is, doing a downward dog. That's who should be doing downward dogs, not people, and certainly not when it's around. There we go. All right. So, I mean, and then what do the grocery stores think? The people are bringing they're bringing pigs to do yoga. here's what's going to happen. People are going to start feeling bad about going to the grocery store and buying a ham or buying bacon. The grocery stores are probably going to shut this thing down. Yeah. No, you know what you know what happens to a pig? You know what they call a pig with a hamstring, John?
No, what is it called?
Pulled pork.
Oh, oh,
You're just dying to tell that joke, Paul.
I know, that's right. It's my dad joke for the week. Everybody's writing that one down. I'll wait for a second while you stop on your exercise machine and write that one down.
yeah.
Okay. We got the wig lady. We got to talk about the wig lady here. Oh, you'll love this photo here. So this lady's name is Helen Williams. She's a wig maker in Nigeria. She created, this is a world record, a hairpiece measuring, get ready, 11 feet, 11 inches wide and falling all the way to the floor. It's almost 12 feet wide. It's the world's widest wig, so wide it can completely hide a Mini Cooper behind the person who is wearing the wig. It's so wide that not only can it hide a Mini Cooper, it's so wide. Madonna tried one and it wiped out half of her backup dancers. She did one of those turns she likes to do and bam, knocked them all down. However, Lady Gaga called her up after she saw this and she said she wants one if she can get it made out of meat. So if you look closely at this thing, it has rhinestones woven into it. She said she wove 1,000 rhinestones into this 12-foot long wig. Now, this is, so you can imagine how heavy it is. There's one photo of her with it on. She's kind of leaning over. I mean, This is not a wig. This is a reason to go to the chiropractor. This is unhealthy. You should eat 50 hot dogs instead of wearing this, because 50 hot dogs.
Where would you even wear this?
Good question, Karen. She's probably she knows it hides a Mini Cooper because she probably has a Mini Cooper, which means she can't go anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
There'd be one side sticking out of one window, one side sticking out of the other. She's flying. It'd be like one of those flying cars she could take off with the wig flat. Wow. Honest to God, I can't believe that. That's just wild. All right. I was talking about this at the picnic I went to for Memorial Day. The Noon Whistle Brewing Company in Lombard, Illinois, is making money off of the cicadas. Apparently, Illinois got hit with the billions and billions of cicadas everybody's talking about. So they're making cicada-infused Marlort, which is some kind of liqueur. Maybe you're not supposed to pronounce the T at the end. I don't know. I don't care. There's bugs in it. They said it has the flavor reminiscent of succulent lobster. Now, I'll tell you what, the best cure for a hangover from drinking any kind of liqueur with cicada in it is a glass of Alka-Seltzer with a spray of Raid inside of it. Who drinks booze with giant bugs in it? I know John doesn't. John would never desecrate.
I would not. No, that is very accurate, Paul.
No. They even encourage people, at the bar, they encourage them to bring their own dead bugs and crinkle them up and sprinkle them on top of the drink. Which, I do that to all the drinks, and then all your friends get grossed out and you can drink all their drinks. I mean, I don't know. This is terrible. But John, now, as I was researching this, people are not just putting the cicadas into their drinks. And this is for you. I'm going to ask you, would you eat spaghetti and cicada meatballs?
Oh,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
How about cicada Alfredo?
Oh, no.
Fettuccine Alfredo made with cicadas. There's a photo of it. I think that looks like snap peas in there, but I don't care. There's cicadas all over it. A really nice fettuccine. Can you believe that people are eating this stuff? I thought John would enjoy that.
I guess because the cicadas are so common now, or so prevalent, I guess it's probably time to try it. I guess. Huh?
Yeah. I don't know, Karen, have you heard from your connection in Texas? Do they have them in Texas?
I haven't heard.
Haven't
And
heard. Yeah, you would hear. You would
yeah,
hear.
if he had
Okay.
cicadas, he'd let me know. Yes.
Okay, one last story here. The California Senate has passed State Bill number SB 961, which would require passive speed limiters on all new cars sold in the state of California. What does the passive speed limiter do? It honks the horn when drivers exceed the speed limit by greater than 10 miles an hour. You go, if the speed limit's 55 and you're going 65, the horn starts honking to let you know. Drivers are already terrified. They're already replacing their stereos with stereos that are much louder than horns. So they can ignore it. It's not going to happen for a few years yet, but they are passing the law. And if it happens in California, it's going to happen all over the country. It would never work in Cleveland. Never work in Cleveland, because I know you're driving down the street, you hear a horn honk. Before you even notice that it's yours, you're already giving the finger to everybody else around you, because you figure they're honking at you. And then they give the finger back to you, and before you know it, it's road rage, and nobody even cares if you're going too fast.
Well, Rich's car, it beeps on the inside, not on the outside. But if
all it says,
yeah, if it reads what the speed limit's supposed to be and he goes over it,
yeah,
it starts beeping at him inside the car.
Oh, it beeps inside.
Yeah.
Oh, how fast do you have to be going?
I think it's like 10 miles over, something like that.
Yeah. I wonder, is it adjustable?
He hasn't figured that out yet. And the car dealer says no.
Because there's all those urban legends that you can go 10 miles over the speed limit or 5 miles over the speed limit, and you won't get pulled over. So I was just wondering, that'd be fun to do. Well, so it's already happening. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
it's already happening. Wow. Oh boy. Well, you learn all kinds of things on What in the World, including stuff about sports, and that means it's time for What in the World of Sports with my old buddy John DiNallo. John, every week I go to him and I say, John, you know more about sports than anybody I know. You're a co-host on What in the World. Okay, we need a sport that lives up to our motto: real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. And John, every week, manages to find a strange sport. And every week we think he'll never top that one. He always tops it. Wait till you hear the sport this week, Karen, and all you listeners out there. It is unbelievable. John, go ahead. Introduce your sport.
Oh, thank you, Paul, for the big introduction. Appreciate that. So everyone, as Paul was indicating, our sport this week is very unusual, to say the least. The name of this sport is the Space Out Competition, and it is held annually in Seoul, Korea. Let me explain. For the 2024 Space Out Competition 2 weeks ago, more than 100 people gathered silently on yoga mats over the weekend to do absolutely nothing. This event is part physical challenge, part art piece, and part respite from South Korea's hyper-competitive society.
Wow.
In short, the Space Out Competition finds out who is the best at zoning out for 90 consecutive minutes without falling asleep, checking their phones, or talking.
Wow. 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Okay.
90 minutes. Now, participants' heart rates are monitored while onlookers vote for their 10 favorite contestants. Whoever has the most stable heart rate among the 10 favorites takes home the trophy.
Look, there's this photo here that they're allowed to dress up in costumes too. So
yes,
you can pick up it looks like one falling over.
So more than 4,000 people applied to participate in the competition,
wow,
which is actually hosted by the city government. So the city of Seoul, Korea sponsors this activity.
4,000 people. Wow.
And the final number was 117 contestants that were selected and ranged from a child in the second grade to several people in their 60s. For many, the competition was a way to recover from burnout and stress from work and school in a country which is well known for high academic standards for students and also extreme pressure to succeed.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but they're not the only ones.
Right. Now, this year marked the 10th anniversary of the Space Out competition, which was created, excuse me, by a visual artist who goes by the pseudonym Whoopsang. And this is Whoopsang had founded this sport after she suffered severe burnout herself.
Ah, what's
Whoopsang
her name again? What's her name again?
is Whoopsang. Now, it's a pseudonym, so again, it's not her real name.
We don't know. We can just imagine what it actually means.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so Whoopsang wanted to space out and do nothing, but she then realized her anxiety came from comparing herself to other people leading very busy lives. Deciding that they could also be wanting to space out and do nothing like her, she created a contest where they can pause altogether at the same time at the same place. Now, the competition is also performance art. While the contestants stay motionless, the audience is constantly moving around. And what this does, it creates a visual contrast between people doing nothing and people being busy.
Wow.
Now, since the very first Space Out competition in Seoul in 2014, it has expanded internationally, with contests taking place in the cities of Beijing, Rotterdam, Taipei, Hong Kong, and Tokyo.
Wow.
This year's event in Seoul was won by multiple job holder Hwan Soa, who took home a trophy shaped like the Rodin sculpture, The Thinker. Now, Hwan said, doing nothing is good for your mental health as well as your physical health because your body has to relax, but your body can only relax when your brain relaxes. So, in summary, the Space Out competition sounds like it would be perfect for all of us. All we ask is that you wait until our show is over before you relax your brain.
Oh,
Thank you.
you got that right, John. Wow. Don't go relaxing your brain, but especially if you're driving while you're listening to the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So this has to be the least strenuous sport we have ever talked about.
I agree 100%.
Wait a second. Staying still is not easy.
Okay. Well, explain, Karen.
Well, I mean, did you see some of the positions they were in? If you're not supposed to move,
That's
you
true.
know, don't you get a twinge or whatever?
Yeah.
There was there's somebody there who's like half turned around or something. It's like, wow.
That's true. Good point. And they're in the lotus position too.
Yeah.
Or semi-lotus, I guess. So yeah, for 90 minutes. Yeah, good point. Good point. I misspoke. That would be strange. And then not say anything, not look at your phone, not look around.
And not fall asleep.
Not fall asleep.
Right,
That's
you
true.
can't sleep, right. Mm-hmm.
Wow. This last photo here is the lady in the hat is the artist. Wang Pang. What's her name?
Hwan Soa.
There you go. Yeah. No, that's that's the winner. The winner. The artist is Whoops something.
The artist is Whoops.
Yeah, Whoops Yang. And the guy on the left is Korea's entrant in the Olympic speed skating competition. He's their top speed skater. So I was reading, I wondered who that person was, and they said that a lot of athletes will do this to calm down before competition. So, it's apparently there's a benefit to it. I guess. Um, as John said, just don't relax your brain while you're watching our show.
Which is
Absolutely.
over,
What
please.
do you
Yes.
think? Would this catch on in the United States?
I don't know. I think it would require a lot of discipline, like Karen was saying. And so I
Yeah.
think some people would be open to doing it, but I think it would turn off quite a few other people, though.
Yeah, good point. Well, if you listen to our show, your regular listeners, you know that John and I aren't the most disciplined people in the world. But at one time we were back when we were in college. We go all the way back to college. We're fraternity brothers, and it seems like we always participate in some form of all these sports. And John, I don't know if you remember this, but we participated in a sport very similar to this while we were in college. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. You'll have to educate me.
Well, I'll tell you, this time it wasn't in competition with another fraternity. Unfortunately, we participated in it while we were in class.
Yeah.
I recall that now.
College
I
students.
recall that being in class like that. Yes.
Somewhere in that class is John and myself, and we are just barely cognizant of what the heck is going on. I think that's me over there before I grow a beard. Yeah, wearing a rugby shirt. That would be me right there. Just completely passed out in my book. No computers in that class, right, John? We were back in the pencil days.
No, definitely not. It was the pencil day for sure. Pencil day. Yes.
All right. Well, great sport, John. Thanks so much for that.
You're welcome, Paul and Karen, and audience. Thanks.
Yes.
Thought-provoking sport. All right. Well, we reached the end of the sport. That means it's time for everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the co-host. Very simple game. I have 3 stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference. All those stories were real. These stories may be real. They may be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and all of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed. So, John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. You've heard of hunting dogs accidentally stepping on a shotgun and shooting their owner. Well, a raccoon in Alabama has just proven that coons are smarter than coon dogs. Police were called to a home to remove a family of raccoons from a garage. While the 2 cops were checking the garage, another raccoon snuck into the patrol car, picked up a taser with its tiny little hand, and proceeded to tase both of the cops when they returned. It was all captured on video, including the cops backing away in fear and the successful raccoon throwing down the taser, waving, and running away. Animal control officers eventually got the whole family of coons captured, but one raccoon knows those cops will never live this down. Okay, so the cops who go on a raccoon call, while they're away from the car, another raccoon picks up the taser and actually tases both of them. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Well, if the cops were stupid enough to keep the car open, the raccoon could have gotten in there. But typically, they close their door so nobody steals the cop car. So I'm going to say this is a bluff.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, very well thought out there, Karen. Very well thought out. So Karen said that it's a bluff. Couldn't happen. John, how about you?
Well, Karen's expressing a lot of logic on this with the doors being closed, of course. That's what police officers do, as we all know, when they leave their patrol car. But I just think this is a preposterous thing. I mean, even if a police officer left their door open, first of all, you have a raccoon being able to not just taser one officer, but 2. I think it's totally ludicrous. Totally.
Totally ludicrous. John's way of saying it's a bluff. Despite the fact that we all own garbage cans that raccoons always manage to take the lids off of. So both Karen and John say that coons tasing cops is a bluff. Let's check with the judges. The judges say congratulations to both of you. That is a bluff.
Okay, Karen, way to go.
Very good.
Very good.
All right. So that means score. We'll look at the scoreboard. It's 1-1. Whew, tight race already. Let's get right to story number 2. there's a shortage of good watchdogs in small towns in England, which are plagued by break-ins. So one chicken farmer decided to solve the problem by teaching some of his roosters to crow whenever they hear a strange sound, no matter what time it is. Then he trained them to do their business in a litter box so they don't make a mess while patrolling around his house. The guard roosters have already prevented 2 burglaries, and word spread around the town. So now he's making extra cash by selling the guard roosters to his neighbors. The only residents not happy are the hens and anyone who still uses roosters for alarm clocks. Okay, so the farmer in England who trains roosters to be guard roosters who crow when they hear strange noises. What do you say, John? Real or bluff?
Well, I'll tell you, this is an interesting scenario or interesting story, and I'm going to say it's true. I could see a farmer doing this.
Okay, John says English farmers train guard roosters. Karen, how about you?
I hate to say, but I disagree because birds don't have very big brains. So I'm not really sure a rooster can be trained to do anything. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Oh, I apologize to all of our rooster listeners. Karen says that that's a bluff, and John says that guard roosters are a real thing. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations go to Karen. That is a bluff.
Okay.
Now, I will say you can train roosters to fight, but maybe that's an inherent thing. But what this means is that Karen has pulled into the lead. It's now 2-1. Fortunately, points are doubled in round number 3, as John well knows, and has pulled out many a game from round number 3. And so has Karen. So let's get right to story number 3. Scores 2-1, by the way. Yogi Bear was known for eating everything inside a picnic basket without bothering to read the labels. But a grocery store in Colorado is convinced a local black bear can read after it broke into the store and ate only boxes of cereal with honey in the name. When they arrived in the morning, store employees found the bear had opened and eaten boxes of Honey Nut Cheerios, Honey Bunches of Oats, and other cereals with honey written on the front of the box, but ignored other brands that had honey in the ingredients but not in the name, or had artificial honey flavoring instead of the real thing. The bear apparently ate its fill before it found the aisle with bottles of honey with honey on the front. The store manager decided it was a boo-boo to keep the honey cereals on the bottom shelf and move them to the top just in case, while also putting bars on the door to keep Honey Yogi out. Okay, so the bear who can read boxes of cereal and knows which ones say honey on the box, real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
I do not believe that bears can read. I have a feeling that it has something to do with the scent more than reading. So it's a bluff.
A bluff, even though it didn't eat the ones with artificial honey flavoring.
May not have the same scent.
Oh, no, may not. Okay, so Karen says that's a bluff. John, how about you?
Well, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say that this is a true story, and I think maybe it just turns out that the bear, by sense, without necessarily reading, could go after the real honey. So I'm gonna say it's true.
Ooh, wow. So both logical, well thought out explanations, completely disagreeing with each other. So, Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's real. Let's check with the judges and see who's going to go home happy this week. And our winner this week is Karen. Congratulations. That is a bluff.
Oh, Karen, congratulations.
Weeks, yeah, we had 3 bluffs. So the whoever does the writing of the stories, he decided he was going to do 3 bluffs this week. How about that? Congratulations. I send my sympathies out to John's lovely wife, because this means he'll be bugging her to do the flashcards.
We're doing some studying this week. Yes, we will have to.
All right. Well, first we want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul at New Cleveland Radio, our producer, all around great person. visit newclevelandradio.net to find out how to download our show and all the great podcasts Karen has there. She's got some wonderful podcasts to listen to. She is also the proprietor of Yes I Can Coaching with Karen. If you need coaching of any kind, in fact, if you're a lacrosse coach and you need advice, not necessarily on lacrosse, you can get that from Karen as well. So please visit her there. All kind of great stuff from Karen. Also, I want to thank my old buddy John DiNallo. Always a fun time with John as our co-host, our color commentator, and always finds a great sport for us, and usually a really good bluff the co-host player. So thanks again, John.
Not so much this week, though. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thanks.
Well, for the John fans out there, John will not be with us next week, so I maybe I shouldn't be saying that ahead of time because we'll lose half of our listeners or more.
Oh, we better not. No,
we better not. So we'll still do sports or something next week. So don't worry.
And we'll talk about John.
Yeah, I have a stuffed bear. I'll use a stuffed bear in place of John. I wouldn't do that to you, John. All right, well, we need to get going here. So, and most importantly, we want to thank all of our listeners out there. Without you, we wouldn't be doing this show. We do have a good time, but it's more than that. We hope that you have a good time with us, because this is the place you come for not the bad news, but the good news, the fun news, the strange news. That's what we do at What in the World. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening to us. Tell your friends. Like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, follow us on YouTube, all those good things. Let us know that you're listening so we can keep tabs on it. If you have some great ideas for stories, or you just want to send a message or a photo, send it to us at Facebook or at newclevelandradio.net. I think I've worn my voice out here, so let's end it for this week. We will be back. Karen and I will be back next week on Tuesday for another episode of What in the World. So everybody have a great week out there.
And
have a great week, everybody.
Follow the Dallas Wings. They're on our website.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Dallas Wings WNBA team. Great team.
Yep. All right.